Welcome to the Saul's Newsstand News Rewind for September 3rd, 2021. Fox News reports, White House official appalled and literally horrified that Biden stranded Americans in Afghanistan. A White House official said they were appalled and literally horrified that President Biden left Americans stranded in Afghanistan, a new report reveals. An administration official told Politico that they were stunned by the president's decision to leave Americans behind as the Taliban solidifies their power in the country and reportedly engages in door-to-door executions. The unnamed official said, quote, "I am absolutely appalled and literally horrified we left Americans there. It was a hostage rescue of thousands of Americans in the guise of a NEO, and we have failed that no-fail mission." Another administration official told Politico that they didn't consider the mission to be accomplished if Americans were abandoned in Afghanistan. The official's concerns came the day that Biden vigorously defended his handling of the withdrawal. Biden on Tuesday touted one of the biggest airlifts in history, noting more than 120,000 individuals were airlifted to safety from Kabul, saying that no nation has ever done anything like it in all of history, calling the mission a, quote, extraordinary success. An article from the New York Post reports, Biden pressured Ghani to create perception Taliban weren't winning. President Biden pressured Afghanistan President Ashraf Ghani to create the perception that the Taliban weren't winning, quote, whether it's true or not, in a phone call just 3 weeks before the insurgents seized control of the country, a bombshell leaked transcript shows. Biden and Ghani spoke for roughly 14 minutes on July 23rd in what would be their final call before the Taliban overran the government and Afghanistan descended into bloody chaos amid the botched U.S. withdrawal, according to a transcript and audio obtained by Reuters. During the call, President Biden said, "I need not tell you the perception around the world and in parts of Afghanistan, I believe, is that things are not going well in terms of the fight against the Taliban. And there is a need, whether it's true or not, there is a need to project a different picture." At the time, the Taliban had already seized about half of the country's district centers and was only weeks away from taking Kabul on August the 15th. Biden also heaped praise on Afghan security forces, which were trained and funded by the U.S. before dissolving in a matter of weeks amid the U.S. withdrawal, and offered aid if Ghani could publicly put out a plan that showed he could control the spiraling situation. Ghani fled the country as the Taliban seized control of Kabul on August 15th. And finally, an op-ed by GOP co-chair Tommy Hicks states, H.R. 4 is just another Democrat power grab. With catastrophe in Afghanistan and our southern border in complete chaos on Joe Biden's watch, Americans would be forgiven for thinking that Democrats were fully focused on those crises. But instead of solving real problems, Democrats show they are more interested in partisan politics and consolidating political power. After they failed to force a federal takeover of our elections with H.R. 1, Democrats are back to trying to take over our elections, which brings us to H.R. 4. By stripping away states' ability to run their elections, H.R. 4 takes dead aim at Republican-led efforts to make it easier to vote and harder to cheat. In trying to pass this radical power grab, Democrats have come up with a cynical cover story, claiming they are trying to strengthen and save the Voting Rights Act. But let's be clear, nothing about the Voting Rights Act is in jeopardy. Discriminatory voting practices outlawed by the 1965 landmark legislation are still just as illegal as ever. The record turnout in the 2020 election proved it is now easier to vote than ever before. And in addition to the nearly 8 in 10 Americans who support voter ID, 68% of voters believe state legislatures should decide the voting rules and regulations for their state, not the federal government. My guess is many House Democrats are going to be thinking about those numbers the day after the midterms next year. And that concludes your Saul's Newsstand News Rewind for September 3rd, 2021. For more political news faster, visit saulsnews.com.